Hi, I'm Matt Hummel. I'm crew chief on the Hoffman 69 sprint car. A lot of people wouldn't know it, but I was born in 1980. A little bit older than people think I am, which is fine. I grew up in Northern California, basically following wing sprint cars, and then messed around, racing midgets and doing different things in Northern California. And then at some point, one of my friends asked me if I wanted to go out to Indiana and help him out on his midget with the national tour. And at the time in my life, I was like, yeah, sure. So that was probably 2002. And it was a little bit more of like a field trip. That's what Dave Steele told us, because I mean, we did race, but we goofed around a lot. And yeah, so after that season, we finished off in California, because that's what they did, 20 years ago. And eventually made my way back to Indiana and been living here ever since, except a short little stint in North Carolina. My dad was always involved in racing, and then he always followed it and watched it. And then he had a job and he was driving past the quarter midget track probably in the late 80s. And so he stopped and kind of checked it out. And because we always went to the sprint car races, but didn't really, we're planning on doing any racing. We just had, had three-wheelers and that sort of thing. And then so he was driving by that one day and stopped. And then one day he's like, he brought me up there and we did a little practice thing. And he said, "Do you want to do this?" And I said, I think I was 8 or 9 years old at the time. I said, "Sure." And so here we are. It's kind of how it all started. You race the quarter midgets and the micros, and then, just kind of a little bit different than what you see today. I would just go to the track and start scraping mud and doing different things and just trying to, work my way into, getting to drive something. And then at some point, I made started some races out in California with the midgets, and then came out back to Indiana. I met a guy named Murray Erickson. He helped me out, and I had a pretty decent run for myself. It was pretty short-lived, and then so we ran, as much as I could, and then, oh geez, man, 2004 or something, I hurt the engine at Belleville and didn't really have any money to fix it, and that was kind of really it for the old racing career, and at the time there was this chassis company called Stealth, and I was working there, and it was time to leave that place. And one day I said I had enough and quit, and so I needed to make a living. So I just kind of started. I said, well, I guess maybe racing myself's not for me. I got to make a living. So that's when I started working on them. Paired up and got to work with a lot of experienced guys. Whether they were a racer or a mechanic. I worked. Jason, he was a hard ass. I worked with Dave Steele. I mean, he was a hard ass, and guys these days, if they'd go cry in a corner if they knew how those guys talked to me. But I just took the lumps and listened and learned and sucked up all I could, and worked for I worked for Damien Gardner for a year, and I think we probably had 7 different crew chiefs, but they were all very experienced, and they all had different ideas and different things, and so you would just listen and kind of take it all in, and then as you progress and mature, you use some of that stuff that you learned along the way. And Brady, he drove for Casey Kane in 2008, and so I was 07. I worked with Damien, and then in 08, I went to work as Brady's crew chief on the midget, and so that's how we got to know each other. And we worked together for a season there, and we became friends, and then obviously at that point in time the economy changed, and he kind of went one direction, and I went a different direction. The midget program at KKR kind of ended, and so that's when I kind of transitioned and went on the Outlaw Tour with Paul McMahon for a couple years, and then Cody Dara. Another 3 years, learned a lot. That's when I kind of started. Willie Kane and I, talked a little bit about, doing some shock work based out of Indianapolis. So that was a fairly easy transition. And then, at some point, Brady and I kind of reconnected probably around 2016. I was born in '80, so I forget a lot of stuff, but 16 or 17, and I was just kind of helping a little bit, and then it just kind of progressed into a little bit more, and now it's progressing back into a little bit less and less, as his schedule changes, and where my company's at, it's hard to get away as much as, obviously you see Brady, he races a lot, so I try and be there for him and help him when I can, because I enjoy racing with him, and obviously, we work together and do different things. I can, help my customer base, so it works out for everybody. Obviously winning the championships was pretty neat, just more so, me and him and, whoever else was helping, it was pretty gratifying, because we both, after, I forget what year it was, but he had to, kind of start his team back up from scratch, so we had to, it took us a little bit of time to, hone in and get really good, and, it was really, really nice to, start just, knocking off podiums and wins, and, I think probably one of the best times we had after a win was probably after we won the Oval Nationals the last year that they had it. That felt really good. Any time you win it, it feels really good. So Terre Haute, obviously that was a spare car type of situation, and so I can take credit somewhat, as far as it was actually pretty neat, because I went back to the trailer and everybody in the pit saw what happened, and I didn't say a word. I just opened the doors, and everybody just came over and just started lending a hand, and I'm not tall, and people were jumping up, climbing, getting this stuff down, but it's a testament to Brady and whoever I think it was DJ at the time, that spare car is ready to go. So we pulled it down, we put some shocks on it, and Brady's head was in the right space, and you just go to work. I think it is racing, and it is fun, but it is a job for some of us out here, and you just kind of put your head down and you just go to work, and we've been working together enough over the years that we don't really have to, in situations like that, we don't have to speak a whole bunch. We just get the job done. One thing that is gratifying about working, with this team is, it always feels great when you win, and then you have your bad nights, which seemed like there was quite a few at the beginning of this year, but for the most part, we just kind of try and keep an even keel, not get too excited when we win, and when nights don't go as great, we kind of look back and see how we could have made them better, and then we crack a beer, and then we move on. Not at this point. I'm too far in deep right now, so there's no option doing anything else right now. I guess I could go work at Amazon to just afford to buy stuff from Amazon. I mean, that's always an option, but no, I mean, racing's what obviously I've been doing it my whole life, so I don't know what else I would do if I wasn't at. And I don't get to the track nearly as much as I used to. Just I got a family and different things, but still getting to the track quite a bit during the year works for me. I don't see it as much. Maybe I don't have my eyes open to it as much. It was a little different, that long ago. These guys were experienced, and with Dave and Jason, they had these gigantic resumes, and I'm fortunate enough to work for them, and I think I got a hamburger and maybe $100 at the end of the night, but for me at that time it was I basically got paid training, and had a chance to win, and these guys put their faith in me to get their car ready, or heck, if it was just even mountain tires, but we did a lot of pavement midget racing back then, so I mean tires was crucial, and it's still crucial today, but when they say, hey, your job's this, you just put your head down and make sure that you do your job right, and other guys can do their job right, and they don't have to worry about you, and that's how you would win races, and it's pretty fortunate to win quite a few with all those guys.